Hello there everyone, and today I'm going to show you guys how to use my Ruby gem that I made called petit-felix, right? And what this Ruby gem does is it allows you to basically take your markdown files and very quickly make like PDF zines with them. And the way it's designed, I can also extend it to eventually have other document types as well. I just haven't gotten around to it. But basically, you can take your markdown files that are on like your static generated websites and create print zines with them. So I'm just going to do a quick demo to kind of show how this works. Just as a reminder, this is not a tutorial to show you how to get Ruby gems, or bundler on your computer. You're going to have to look those up on your own. It's different based on your operating system, but this will be consistent once you have Ruby gems, and bundler installed. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to want to clone this repository, right? And I will go into my demo folder. I'll just make a directory where I can just plop this thing down. Now the thing is that you don't actually need most of the files in here. So I'm going to show you which files you need and why, right? You're going to want to have the assets directory because that's where the fonts are stored for default if you want to have it running out of the box. You're going to want to have the templates just because it has a reference of the zine single template, so that way you can reference all the variables in it. You're going to want to have default configuration. That's the default configuration, obviously. You're going to want the gem file. That's your dependencies. You're going to want the sh program. I should probably add a Windows command now that I think about it. This is clearly a Linuxoid repository. Anyways, you're also going to want this Ruby file because that's referenced in this right here. And I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. Pretty sure. Alright. Now, just to go over, right, we have our markdown files in MD. Right, so I just picked something from my website here, and I'll take these out. I'll explain what those do in a minute, but for now I'm just going to take those out. And one thing that you need to do is, first off, this little area right here is basically YAML. The way that it is processed by petit-felix is not actually in YAML. It's just like if YAML but had no like nesting, so it's just flat, right? That's all you really need. But you're going to want to have PDF true, because if it doesn't, it's just going to ignore it, right? It's not going to output. So what you also want to do is, for this one specifically, because I stored my images in this image directory, you're going to want to look at your config file. This has all your configs, and this is not the image directory we want to use. We want to use this image directory. And this, we can also define our input files, output files, task. So basically, petit-felix supports tasks, right? So you can like export different kinds of things. Currently, the only one that exists is the PDF task. But there's also a template task as well. I just haven't written the documentation for it. But those are the two tasks that currently exist. But in the future, we can extend it to have like different outputs and stuff. That's what the tasks are, right? So if we go back, right, to what we were looking at. All right. So now that we have everything set up, let's make sure this is saved. Now that we have everything set up, we can just hopefully execute this properly. So first we want to go and install the bundle. This will install our dependencies. And then we will execute. We do not want to use any arguments just for this test run. Hopefully it should execute. Okay. Alright, no errors, and here we go. Here's the output. Right, so here's the default output. Not a crazy amount going on here, but it will do the headers and everything, and it has the images. It supports a couple other things I don't remember on the top of my head. It has different fonts for quotes, for example. But this is what it looks like with no extra settings applied, right? Now, what we can do is, first off, if we want, we can apply custom arguments in the command line. So the ranking of like how important the arguments are is that, so there's the config file, that's like our default config, right? This will be the default, right? That will be overridden by anything that we have in the command line. So for example, columns 2, right? This will produce an output with 2 columns. And then if they are individually defined on the file, that will override any other arguments. Should, at least. Let's see. Yep, it worked. So, basically, the reason why I pulled out this, template file is because this actually tells us, this default variables here tells us all the variables that we can use to actually define the state of the output. And we can do a lot with this, right? And this template actually assembles the whole thing with these commands. You can even write your own templates with these commands, but I'm not going to go over that. Just look over the source code if you want to learn how to do that. But basically, you can use this JSON to organize little blocks to create commands that does the output. So that's in this definition block. But in this default variables block right here, right, this has all of the default variables that actually define the output for the zine, right? So let's say we wanted to add a front cover and back cover. I do know there are some bugs with the back cover, which I'll just go over. I might fix them later. I haven't been feeling super well in the last few days. But, yeah, so let's see. Let's go to the markdown file, and let's just edit it here, right? So, first off, I don't want to have that many columns. So, remember that this is based on YAML. So, we really want to take out these extra... Okay, so, I'm just going to kind of go over how we can use this. So, like, for example... if we just mark this as true, we can add like extra like images and stuff. So like for example, for the front page, I want to have example image be like the extra page image, and then front author I'm gonna say is Félix-Deux. I'm gonna change this size to be, I don't know, 28, font size to 20. I'm going to leave this one alone. If you don't want to use a variable, you can just remove it, and that will just use the default. Publication date, today, let's just do today, that's the 13th. It's done manually, by the way, just to make sure it looks proper. Cool Guy Productions. Alright, and the image, we're going to have inner cover.png. Oh, okay. I was an idiot. I misspelled the file name. Okay. So here's the output. And now you can see that you have a title graphic. You have like an extra page that you can have as like a spacer. And then, yeah. And the one last thing I want to show is that you can also control like when line breaks happen and stuff. So like if you want to move to the next page or the next column, you can use BR next to each other, right? So usually BR means like a line break in HTML, and if you have two of them together, they are translated as like a skip, right? And see how it skips to the next section. right? And if you have one of them on a line like this, you can also add like gaps in how it generates. There you go. So yeah, this is basically designed to work with like static generated websites and stuff, so it's a lot easier to just output like a quick zine from your blog posts. And the idea is that then that way you can have like print versions and small distributions as well as like online. So